Yes, guys. Yes, people. Welcome back to another live stream. Welcome back to another video for you guys. And I know it's the international break and content is absolutely dead right now. So fuck it. We're going to do a few comparison streams. If you guys like these sorts of streams, we'll start doing a few more of these throughout the international break as well. If this one's a dud, then we'll just write it off as a shit stream. We'll just throw it in the mud and we'll move on to something better on in the next one. But we're here to chat about Eden Hazard versus Mo Salah. We'll get into it very soon. Like this has been going back and forth throughout the timeline over the last few days, so it's better that we actually discuss this on the stream. There should be a few Liverpool fans potentially hopping on. I think Ryan's going to join. Could potentially have Drifty jumping on in a little bit as well. Messaged a few other people here and there. I'll also put the link out in the chat if anyone wants to jump in and have their say as well. And if anyone else does want to come in, literally just DM me on Twitter. I'll just throw you guys a link. It's very easy like that. But we'll go into the Salah versus Hazard debate very soon. Big up everyone that's locked in. Smash the like and subscribe button on your way in. As always, big up Fatta, Josh, C1, Chris, No Context Monster. Literally, you're the guy that was pushing for this stream as well. So big up yourself. Weekly update setting a silly debate, striker inside forward versus pure wing. Yes, we know that. It still doesn't stop this debate from just ringing round everyone's ears over the last few years. So we're going to have to put that in discretion.
The same with Henry and Drogba.
What are you saying, Scott?
I think it's the same with Henry and Drogba. Henry started as a winger, and when he first came to the Prem, was kind of an inside forward. He transitioned to a more natural striker, but it's the same argument.
Yeah, as well as Drogba was just more of a centre forward, but people still throw the debate regardless. So we're here where we're at regardless. Big up everyone that's locked in. As always, smash the like and subscribe button. Before we get into it, Scott, as always, how's the last few days been for you, bro?
It's good. It's been good, bro. Not too bad. Just enjoying a couple of days off work. But yeah, just I'm bored as shit during the international break. But who isn't?
Literally, like I've been literally doing fuck all the last day or two. I've got nothing else to talk about. No streams, no YouTube. Man's just existing here, but we're here, innit? Wayne, what are you saying, bro? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Obviously, I've been doing some stuff from my home, but with my family. Got some breaking news, obviously. Thanks to Mrs. Shameless, she's convinced me, and I've started my own YouTube channel, so that's going to start filling my days up. That's good. So I'll be hopefully, guys. If it's what I've learned, I'm going to plug myself. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to my channel, Wayne's World, and yeah, I'll be grateful. And
I'll drop the link in the comment section as well.
I can't. I don't know how to, do I?
Oh, for fuck's sake! 1 second. I'm gonna have to fucking do everything for you. I can't.
I'll put it in the comment section for him.
Oh,
thank you.
Yeah,
thanks, Prime.
Beat me to it. Perfect. What are you saying anyway, Prime? You good?
Yeah, I am. Apologies, I'm late. I'm sorry. I just did a stream on the first XI, so.
Yeah, right. If you want to plug that as well, go for it. Drop that in the comment section as well. We're all here for it.
Oh, I will. Thank you. Bless.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No
people,
worries, man.
What are you all saying? Are we doing a stupid debate about Hazard and
yes,
what's that called? The bum.
Yes, we are doing a stupid debate over Hazard and Salah. But we're here. It's the international break. This is literally silly season, so we move. Daniel, what are you telling me, bro? You good?
Well, I'm chilling, man. I've had this debate like 100 times, so this should be fun.
Yeah, I'm just hoping we actually get some fucking Liverpool fans in here so we could actually have someone saying a different opinion. Because I know we're all going to sit here and say Eden Hazard, aren't we?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. This is the problem. Because I don't think there's anyone that's actually going to give a different opinion. And Go AM says it perfectly. This is the way I see it. Exactly. Mo Salah levels clear the better goal scorer, more ruthless. You could argue the better mentality as well. But in terms of pure footballing talent, it's Eden Hazard. And I think Eden Hazard is just much more of a threat throughout the attacking box. Whereas I think Mohamed Salah, you usually get most of the output on the right-hand side. And that's not to slander Mo Salah either. Like, this isn't just going to become a Salah slander sesh, because Both of them, in my opinion, are up there as some of the best wingers in Premier League history, some of the best players in Premier League history. They're two of the best players of the 2010s. Them, David Silva, De Bruyne, Sergio Aguero, Harry Kane, all of them up in that bracket. But to me, Eden Hazard, dead ass, the most talented player out of a lot. The thing that separates Mo Salah from Eden Hazard for me is what they can do with the ball in dangerous positions and where they're most dangerous at. Eden Hazard is just a threat anywhere in the attacking half. His range of passing is just different. He can find passes from deep. He can beat players using his own dribbling. He can shoot from range. Whereas Mo Salah, he's perfectly capable of it. But Eden Hazard's the better passer, in my opinion, and the better dribbler.
I was going to say
what just separates him from Mo Salah, in my opinion.
We're not having this argument if Mo Salah plays for any other Premier League team apart from Manchester City.
Well, you think it's a case? You think it's a case where the system's protecting?
Look at how many. Look at over the years that he's played at Liverpool. Look how many chances they create per game. There's no wonder why his numbers are as high as they are. It's because they create mad chances. I think the year he broke the record for the amount of goals he scored. They created a mental amount of chances. Mental. And that's the thing. And the City do the same. But if he's playing for any other team in the Premier League, this ain't a discussion.
Yeah, and this is the thing as well, because Eden Hazard was the one that was creating most of our chances in the squad as well. Especially when we were in that downturn period where we had absolute bums up front surrounding him.
And not just that, do you know how many, you know that thing people say, and about Werner, he misses so many chances. I don't know what it is, but these top inside forwards, so Salah and Aubameyang in that conversation, you know how many chances they miss on average for the past 3-4 years? But because they've played in systems, not Aubameyang so much this year and last year, but these two have played in systems that create so much for them. They've missed 4 or 5 chances, clear-cut chances a game, but yet they'll still score 1 or 2 goals, and people will praise them for it. Because Werner hasn't, last year, in playing a system that was creating so much goals for him. When he was missing chances because he only got 2 a game, and he missed 2 a game, people slated him. That's why Salah gets all this praise, but people forget about the fact of, and it's not me disrespecting him, but as an all-round player, he's not perfect. You know, there are times when he's been scrappy, he's been ugly, it doesn't look brilliant, but because he gets goals, people want to praise him for it.
It's the same with all these volume players. Like Bruno is in that conversation as well. Like they'll need about 1 million chances to do one thing. They'll do that one thing and people will focus on that one thing. Not the 1 million chances it's taken to do that one thing. They'll focus on just the one thing he's done. It's the same with all, like as you said, Werner, Aubameyang, Salah, Bruno, like all those volume players. When you've got other players like De Bruyne or Silva, as you've mentioned, or like Lewandowski, Benzema, like the best players in the world don't need 1 million like chances to do that one thing. They'll take that. They'll take that one chance. They'll take that. Like Bruno against us, for example, had a poor game, wasn't very good. 1 free kick, and they nearly score from it because his delivery is like best in the world.
Yeah, and also, you have to think about it as well. Salah's had the same manager and the same system for like 5 years now. We've seen Hazard is the only attacking manager Hazard played under was Maurizio Sarri. And listen, there was a million problems. Not with Maurizio Sarri, but just that season in general. He played with a first season Kovacic that wasn't at his best. Jorginho that season until it got towards the end of the season wasn't at his best. He had Willian and Pedro. Pedro was basically declined, and Willian was just awful that season. The only half decent striker he played with was Giroud, but the rest, Higuain, Morata, Barkley, you had Emerson and Alonso behind him. Like, listen, there was a million problems. And then before that, Mourinho, Conte, they were all good managers, but they were all defensive managers. You know what I mean? So listen, Salah's played under the same manager, the same system. For 5 years now, he's played with Arnold and Robertson crossing the ball into them for like 5 years. You know what I mean? Whereas you know that Chelsea they have stuck to one squad, but we always add in new players every year, apart from the transfer ban. We will probably get a new manager every 2 years. You know what I mean? And the system will probably change every 2 years as well. So, and Hazard, when you got that one attacking manager, we see not only the output, but the performances as well. Like you look at Man City when in the Carabao Cup, he literally carried our attack, literally, because we were defending the whole game. And then do you remember that time when nobody was up the field? He got the ball, he passed like 5 Man City players, put it on a plate for Kante, and Kante obviously couldn't finish it. And these are the type of things Hazard used to do for us week in, week out, you know what I mean?
Even in different systems as well, you were talking about different players. We went from defensive systems under Conte and Mourinho, where this guy was literally the only player that was involved in our transitions or even creating anything, especially with the other trash players that we had surrounding them, to playing an attacking style of play, which we actually did get the best out of him from. But it also raises a question to me, because I'm always sitting there thinking, imagine if we had Eden Hazard in a more attacking system for more than just Maurizio Sarri's season, because we just got a little taste of what he's capable of if you play him in a much more possession-based system, and we only got to experience that for 1 year.
And also, like, people forget, this is the greatest Premier League team in history, Liverpool. Right? Salah plays in the better team. I expect better numbers or outputs. But if Salah's by far the better player, I'm fine if we concede that. But does that also mean that Lampard is then clear of Gerrard? Because Lampard plays in the better team and has better
I wanted
numbers.
to have with Liverpool fans, but like none of them's turned up. Ryan's going to be another 10 minutes.
But
Yeah.
the weekly updates,
To me, that's what.
said it perfectly, by the way. If we're just using GNA of like everything, and Bruno, technically speaking, is better than Zidane because his output is better, but that's not true. And anyone with eyes can tell you that's not true, because GNA is not everything.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's not just this fucking stats game. I get that stats are important in football to a point. The same way eye test is important to a point as well. But you got to look at it and take both of them into account. Like, in terms of goals and assists, yeah, I think everyone could easily say Mohamed Salah's got that in the bag. But in terms of who's the more talented player, in terms of who controls the game more, and in terms of who is the best player on the pitch whenever they step onto the pitch, it's Eden Hazard. He won the most man of the matches in 5 out of his last 6 Premier League seasons. And one of those was Mohamed Salah's prime season in 17-18. And Eden Hazard still had more man of the matches in that season, despite being in a worse side and a much more defensive side as well. And to me, that just shows the levels of the players. We at least got one rival fan in here. Go on, Igal. What are you telling me, bro? You good?
I'm good. I noticed how you changed the title from Eden Hazard versus Salah to Prime. Salah and Eden Hazard.
We ain't gonna do Eden Hazard now, bro, because like that's a bit of a dead argument.
No. But the thing is, we're talking about just Premier League careers. We're not talking about their whole careers, are we?
But Salah's only good in Premier League. Otherwise, he was.
No, that's not fair. Salah was good. Salah was good at Rome, in Roma, and Eden Hazard was good at Lille. But guess what? Immediately, when people are talking about Eden Hazard and Salah, they take away everything they've done outside of the Premier League, and they only talk about in the Premier League. Because if you do that, and you want to talk about outside of the Premier League, currently Eden Hazard has fallen off a cliff.
And if you want to include what we've all done in the Premier League, when Salah was at Chelsea, he couldn't sniff our 11.
I would say even if we're including what they've done outside the Premier League, Eden Hazard won a league title with Lille, and I'm fairly sure he won Young Player of the Season.
Yeah, Eden Hazard was
Salah did not do nothing in the
that's same argument.
Yeah, Salah didn't win nothing with Roma.
But Roma's not an elite club. We know that.
Lille.
No, but Lille in France, at least
you
have an opportunity to win the league. In Italy, you really don't.
But why did they have an opportunity to win the league?
I was going to say.
No.
By the way, this is the same time. I'm fairly sure this was the same time when Marseille and Lyon were still a good team. Like, they were still good teams and they were still challenging.
Okay, I just want to make this immediately clear. I do not mean to have any disrespect towards Eden Hazard. This is just a debate about two topics. And I personally feel like when Eden Hazard is talked about and Salah are compared, one is more disrespected than the other. And I want to make it
agree.
clear.
Right now, it's Hazard that's more disrespected, the way I've been seeing the timeline going off at my guys.
Okay.
Can I put my 5 cents? 5 cents. So, for example, is the inside forward, right? That's Salah's position, inside forward on the right side. Everybody agree with that, right?
Yeah.
Hazard is on the left. So the Liverpool has like a striker like Harry Kane or top world striker in front of him. Salah, does he has that in Liverpool?
Say it again?
The Salah has a world how you say it, best striker, center forward,
World-class
at Liverpool.
striker.
Proper
No.
striker. No, he doesn't, right? So for me, Salah is always gonna outshine goal scorers because they don't have a proper center forward. So it is up to outside strikers to score the goals. Does it make sense? That's why Salah is. If you will put the proper center forward, is Salah gonna have a same amount of goals, or he's gonna be created? Because Hazard, I see as a creator more than the scorer of the goal. You see what I'm saying? So for me, as the more influential in the team, Hazard is. That's what I was trying to say. Is
You also
Salah
have
going to
to-
be same influential as if he had a good center forward?
Yeah, you also have to think about Salah at his best was getting compared with Hazard and Son and them, man. Hazard at his best was getting compared with the Neymars, with the Messis, with the Ronaldos. You know what I mean? So listen, the bar for both of them is different as well. You know what I mean? And the thing is that I think the only reason Salah's disrespected in this debate is because listen, I rate Salah. You know what I mean? But I think when you put him up against Eden Hazard, it makes him not look as good as he is, because if you put Salah, you have to look at it from perspective. If you put Salah into that Chelsea team and he was playing right wing, and I don't know, he had Willian on the left and he had flipping I don't know, Morata, and then he had Azpilicueta behind him, who didn't have his best season. His legs were kind of gone. And then he had, I don't know, he had these players. Would he have the same number of output? And let's be honest, Salah, most of the Salah hype comes from output. You know what I mean? Would he have the same numbers? Would he perform as good? And then you look at somebody like an Eden Hazard, who, okay, maybe he doesn't fit Liverpool's system as much because obviously the pressing and the constant running. But if what Salah had is a system that suits him to the T, where he can get as much chance as he wants. He likes to be running in behind. So he has this perfect system. If you put Salah into a system where he's not comfortable with, he's not going to be getting as much chances. He's going to have to be the leader of the team, where he's going to have to create, and he has a lot more responsibility. Will we see the same number of performances and output?
You won't, because Salah is a striker. See, here's the thing. Everything you said about Salah, you can say about a lot of strikers, right? And that's what he is. It's a different role. And it's hard to compare a playmaker. Like when you see compilations of Hazard, do you see how deep Hazard used to drop to pick up the ball? He used to do what Kovacic did, except, he would either get an assist or he would score. Right? That's what Hazard used to do. He used to drop really deep to pick up the ball and drive through. He used to create everything. Everything went through him. And the gap between his creation, I mean, obviously, because we started this conversation about peaks, right? So Hazard's peaks is when he had another creator with him, Fabregas, and one striker who actually scored goals. So when he had Costa, he won two league titles. When he had these other guys, these other bums, he couldn't really do much, right? Because I mean, then you're tasking him, and we saw how Hazard played his first year. He would dribble the entire team and pass it off because he was a creator. He just didn't want to score, and we used to get mad at him like, Hazard, score, shoot. But then once he got a center forward, right, it was a completely different thing. We always won. When Hazard had a proper center forward, Chelsea always won because that combination was there. He would create for them and they will score.
Even Hazard
so it's a different
as a number 10. Even Hazard,
it's different roles, completely different
10.
roles.
Let me know when you're done.
I'm done. Go ahead.
Okay,
Hey, Gal, just before you go, Goem says even though Hazard left almost 2 years ago, legend has it that Francis Coquelin is still spinning. Just before Igal, you go off on the anti-Hazard debate. Go for it, bro.
Okay, Mo Salah in the Premier League in comparison to Eden Hazard's goal per 90. Salah 0.72 to Hazard 0.39. Just goes to show you, in comparison to goals, obviously he has way more than him. Now,
but no one's debating.
Salah is a striker.
Let me finish. Don't cut me off. Don't cut me off. Let me finish. When it comes to goals scored, non-penalty goals, also 0.62 in comparison to 0.31. Then you talk about big chances created. Everybody says Eden Hazard's a creator. Salah is not a creator. Guess what? You can create your own chances and finish them off yourself. Mo Salah, in comparison to Eden Hazard, is 0.38 in comparison to 0.31, which that means is Mo Salah has created more big chances, which he either has finished off or given to his teammates than Eden Hazard. In assists, they're the same, exactly the same. And when you talk about where they play on the pitch, guess what? Mo Salah, when it comes to Eden Hazard, chances in the box and the positions which they shoot from in the box are the same. They shoot from the same positions in the box. They take the same shots within the box. When they're in scoring positions, they're more inside forwards than they are.
How often do they shoot? What is the shooting ratio of both of them?
They're shooting inside the box from statistics from when Eden Hazard and Salah were in the same league in the same season. Eden Hazard was being played more as a false nine and more as an inside forward than an actual midfielder. And
how many shots
Mo Salah
take a season and Hazard takes a season?
Mo Salah has never been an out-and-out striker his whole entire season. He is not a natural winger, I'll give you that. He's more of an inside forward. He's somebody who plays on the right forward position and cuts in and scores goals in that position. And Eden Hazard is the similar, but on the left, which is also the same role, but slightly different, because Eden Hazard did not have the luxury of having a false nine who dropped deep for him. He had to play the false nine himself at times. And when he had strikers, his strikers were more traditional strikers. And then he also had Morata, who did not finish at dinner. So let's not talk about creativity.
You just listed three things that make it completely different, and yet you say it's not different.
No, but I'm saying this when it comes to a statistical argument. I just want to put the groundworks here. When it comes to a statistical argument in creativity, assists, goals, there is no comparison. Salah.
Were you comparing across their entire time across the Premier League or one season?
Their entire time throughout their whole Premier League career. Their entire time throughout their whole Premier League career. If you want, I can share this.
When did Mo Salah come to the Premier League?
Mo Salah came to the Premier League. What was it?
I'm talking with Liverpool. Not when he played with us. Not when he played with us.
2017.
2017, 18 or
2017. Cool. So he's been in the Premier League 4 years. He's been in the Premier League 4 years. Salah was here for 7. So number one, those stats are going to be skewed because Hazard has 3 extra years on him. Number 2,
no, but this is per 90 stats. These are per 90 stats.
Yeah, but you've taken them. That's from across every season that they're collated together. That's what you just told me.
If you want to see it, these are per 90 stats. These are not.
Is this across the whole? Are you talking about?
This is across. This is across
season or their entire time.
This is every time, every minute that they've both played in the Premier League, even Chelsea minutes for Salah.
Yeah, cool. Even then, we're talking about 5 years plus against 7 years. So again, you're like
no, but that argument is gone. This is per 90. This is per 90 statistic.
It's not, though.
It is. It's not.
No, so this is across one season.
Let Josh land. Or Scott, sorry.
So these are per 90. So these are taken 90 minutes across. So you've taken all of their game time across all of their years, all of their seasons in the Premier League. Is that what these stats are from?
These are the per 90 statistics for every single game that they've played in the Premier League up until the end of Eden Hazard's last season, and up to Mo Salah's last season, not this season.
So again, Eden Hazard's gonna have more game time, therefore gonna have a bigger pool
gap. Yeah,
there we go.
But do you understand how per 90 statistics are calculated? During the duration of 90 minutes per game. So it's not. So yes, you can have a larger sample size, but you could do more of an impact in a larger sample size than you would be able to do.
Man in the comment section are saying these stats are fake.
You guys say what
anyway,
you want. These stats are from Opta-Stats.
No,
it can't be real, but you're including an injury hit season for Hazard where he had a terrible year.
As we've mentioned,
365 days. Yeah.
The fact as well, it doesn't take into account that Salah's played in a very attacking Liverpool team that creates mad chances every single year. Hazard for at least 4 years of his 7-year Premier League career played under defensive managers that were counter-attacking football. Doesn't take that into account.
Listen,
Can I-
look,
can I say
it doesn't
something
even
about
hold on, guys. It doesn't even make sense because Salah is a striker. Like his role, if he doesn't score in his team, who's scoring for him? Who's scoring for them? He's the goal scorer. The system is built for him to get goals. Hazard wasn't the striker at Chelsea. He was a creator.
And also, like,
that's not accurate. Salah is not accurate. That's not accurate. Salah is not a striker. If you say he's not a winger, if you say he's not a winger, I understand that because there's different types of positions on the football pitch. You can be inside forward.
Oh my God,
you can be out and out winger.
What is the job of an inside forward?
Say it again.
What is the job of an inside forward?
The job of an inside forward is to combine with the right side of the pitch and create goals for his teammates.
Listen, if Salah doesn't score for Liverpool, if he's not scoring goals,
did Salah not create one of the best goals? Did Salah not create?
If Salah is not scoring goals for Liverpool, who's scoring goals for Liverpool?
Sadio Mane.
No, he's not.
Mane is one. But that's what they do. That's what Liverpool do. They have two forwards. They have Salah and Mane and Firmino in the middle. That's what they had for years.
Hold on. No, let me go on Igal's point. Sadio Mane, that's fine.
Chatting shit, brother.
Look at Eden Hazard at Chelsea. If Hazard's not creating, who do we have? Willian, who every Chelsea fan or the vast majority of Chelsea fans will say Willian's been terrible for Chelsea. Pedro, who we got at the very twilight of his career. Alvaro Morata to miss chances, or Gonzalo Higuain to miss chances, Olivier Giroud to miss chances. You Arsenal fans will say he's a donkey, he's a backboard. So what are you comparing when you had Mane, Trent, Robertson, Jurgen Klopp, who's meant to be this amazing tactical manager? What are you comparing?
That's my question. If you will switch a rule and you will put Salah into the Chelsea's team and Hazard into the Liverpool team, do you think it's going to be a difference in their performances?
Listen, Eden Hazard will not be able to replicate the statistical output that Salah puts out. Same time, Mo Salah would not be able to replicate the positions that Eden Hazard takes up on the pitch. So it's two completely different playing.
Would Mo Salah replicate his statistical
I think I can
output?
disagree with that.
Hold on. Would Mo Salah replicate his statistical output in those Chelsea teams?
He would statistically still perform, but you have to play to his strength.
I agree with Daniel.
He would not.
He would not.
He wouldn't.
He's just dead. He will be.
He's
dead.
playing with a generational right back in terms of going forward in an attacking space and creating. His right back creates 22 chances for him every season, or for players every season. Big chances. When have you ever seen that in your life?
Okay, so now what you're doing is you're saying because Trent is creating chances for Liverpool, that Mo Salah is benefiting from that so much that he would not be able to score goals or get assists in other teams. That is what you're trying to say.
He would not be able to get 40 goals a freaking season at that Chelsea team. When you don't have players, when you don't have. I mean, come on, look at our right back and left back then. We had Azpilicueta playing left back.
Carsten never got near those goals. Dropping.
Eden Hazard was playing, fam, in that title winning season, right, in 14-15, Azpilicueta was playing left back with Eden.
Okay, so look at this. Look at this example right here. If he's a striker, guess who's actually more central? Guess who's actually more central in this picture? It's actually Eden Hazard. So if you're saying
this doesn't make this, you're missing my point. When Hazard, again, 2014, when we won the league, Hazard's left back was who? Azpilicueta, who isn't even a left back. The entire season, a defensive player. You're playing with the most attacking right back we've seen in the Premier League, probably ever. Right? Who gets you 22 created chances, big chances, notwithstanding the other chances that he creates. And on the other end, you have another one who's creating the exact same. You've had this for 4 years, right? For 4 years, you've had all this creating for you. So of course, your numbers as a striker is going to be different.
So now we're gonna.
He's a striker.
Now we're gonna discredit Messi for having Dani Alves also. Are we gonna do the same thing?
No. Look, can I say something, please? Because I've kept quiet for all this chat. I respect everyone's decision, opinions, because this is a good debate because they're two quality players. But the simple fact is, for me, when I'm watching the game, Salah needs players for him because he doesn't run back. He doesn't do it. If he wins, it's because of the players around him. Hazard, he didn't need players' money. He won the game on his own. if he wanted it to win, he did it on his own. He used to go back, defend, get the ball, run it forward, either set up a goal or score a goal. And in my opinion, that is a better player. Salah will stay in that wing, and he won't track back. He will not fight for the ball. Unless someone passes to him, he won't score. He won't
but that's
do
not
it.
true. That's not true.
Sometimes he does track back. Sometimes
Salah's positioning defensively is to catch out teams on the counterattack. How many times have we seen a ball from Alisson into Salah's feet for a goal? For example, against Manchester United, he did that. For example, he did that in the I think it was against Roma in the UCL semifinals or something like that. I don't know who was it against Roma? I forget. But he's done this numerous times. Salah's positioning defensively is to make sure not everyone can go forward and attack. So as much as you guys are saying he doesn't contribute defensively, guess what? That game against Man City, he was getting back defensively, and one of the goals, he picked up the ball in his own half, progressed it the whole way, as you guys say Eden Hazard does, and scored a goal and assisted a goal. And I'm not just going off one game. He does this consistently. He gets underrated for his creativity. He gets underrated for his contributions overall on the team, and he's considered somebody who just is good in the final third. That is not accurate.
Just before we go any further, I would like to hear what the Liverpool fan has to say on this situation, because we actually haven't heard from him yet. Ryan, what are you saying, bro?
Nah, you know what? It's like what my man said earlier on. It's different. These players shouldn't really be compared, because people automatically think they're both wingers in it, but they're two completely different players in it. Like one's a striker who's there to score goals, who just comes in from out wide. Trust me, this guy's a striker in it. Like, he's not some winger or anything. Wingers are the guys who hog the touchline, who are there more for the creative side of the game, like Hazard was. I don't think anyone will debate that Salah is the better goal scorer than Hazard. I don't think that's up for debate. Like, I think even Lewis said that. Nah, you can't deny that. But that doesn't mean you're automatically the best player. You know, I was seeing Hazard carry Chelsea, like, at times, like, especially playing, like Scott said, under defensive managers like Mourinho, Conte, you know, whereas Salah's always been under Klopp, who plays an attacking system. Like, and this isn't taken away from either player, but for me, Hazard, as a technical all-round footballer, is better than him still. That's my opinion.
Yo, Ryan, let's be honest. As a Liverpool fan, Salah's not your favorite player.
No, he's not my favourite player. I respect him, I love him, but he's not my favourite player, no, at the club.
Okay. Is Salah your favourite player, Gal?
On the point, by the way, of Salah being underrated, when I'm hearing shouts that he's the best player currently in world football, he's not underrated.
On form, you could actually make that.
There are shouts saying that he should be. You know how people make who's the best player in Prem history? Shearer, Henry, or Ronaldo. People are saying he should enter that discussion.
No, he shouldn't.
That is vastly overrating him. He doesn't deserve to be there.
But people overrated Hazard also.
I think he will be.
People tried to compare Hazard. People tried to compare Hazard to Neymar and Messi, saying and people try to say.
Wait, Neymar's a fair shout.
Yeah. People try to say Eden Hazard was in the conversation for the best left winger in Premier League history. That's not true.
No one put him in the top players in Premier League history.
I think he's.
Ryan Giggs would be in that spot.
Ryan Giggs, yeah. Even I agree with that.
Cristiano played on the right majority of the time. I'm not gonna lie. But even Robert Perez would be up there. Let's not forget that.
Okay. Perez is not over. It's not over Hazard. Don't start that, please.
No, I don't.
That's a joke.
Perez.
Oh, Perez.
That's a joke.
No.
Come on.
All respect to Perez. No. Let's not do this.
Question, Igal. Who's better, Hazard or Sanchez?
Alexis Sanchez was better.
Wait.
Not the whole time, but Alexis Sanchez was better for I think 1 or 2 year period. He had better.
Messi and Ronaldo have ruined the game, fam.
Here's where I ruin you. No, so you're saying Salah's better over what you're talking about the whole time in the Prem and stuff like that, and you're also including Salah at Roma and Hazard at Lille. But you're saying Sanchez is better than Hazard based off 1 or 2 years.
Listen. Stop. Stop. That's not what's happening. You're completely trying to change the argument to fit your narrative. Lewis made the title. Prime. So if we're talking about Prime, we're talking about their Premier League careers.
Did Alexis Sanchez not play for Manchester United? Or am I confused? Did he not play in the Premier League? Did he not play for Manchester United in the Premier League? Or
did I mention the years that he was at United?
You should, because you just said Premier League career for both. Did you not? You said Hazard's Premier League career, Salah's Premier League career.
I don't know where you guys are getting.
I don't know where Alexis Sanchez's Premier League career.
I said 2 years. 2 years.
Why did you mention it?
I didn't mention it. Prime mentioned it.
No, you mentioned that he was better for those 2 years.
I didn't mention
1
it.
year.
Prime asked the question.
No. I'm saying you mentioned that he was better for 1 or 2 years.
Bro, if somebody
we're talking about the Premier League career.
If somebody asks you a question, you can't then say that person mentioned it because I was responding to a question.
So you didn't mention that he was better.
I was asked a question. I answered it.
I know, and the only reason I asked that question.
What was your? Thank you, Redneck. What was your answer?
No, but the only reason I asked that question is because you were saying about Salah. You're talking about Salah.
You trying to play with words here, man. Stop it.
Hold on.
Who's playing with words?
Let him answer. Gangster Ray Charles. Let him answer.
Go ahead, Ray Charles.
No. He asked you a question. Who's better, Hazard or Sanchez?
He said Sanchez over like 1 or 2 years.
No, Prime, speak. What were you saying?
Yeah, and I'm showing that you're contradicting yourself because, again, like you just said, the title of the stream is Primes, but then you were speaking about Salah and talk about all he's done in the Prem and what he was doing at Roma, and you were talking about Hazard, what he's done in the Prem, what he was doing at Lille. And now you're contradicting yourself.
Listen.
No, hold on. Let me finish.
Stop. No, everyone's going to just let him continue.
Let me finish. Now you're contradicting yourself and saying Sanchez is better than Hazard because of 1 or 2 years in the Prem. You're contradicting yourself. That's what you're doing.
Okay, first things first. You asked me, was Alexis Sanchez better than Hazard? And I said yes for 2 seasons. If you don't want to hear what I'm saying and you want to have selective hearing, that's your only
2 years. That's exactly what you said. Wait, so everyone else, am I wrong?
You connected. You said on the Premier League.
It's a bit of a sticky one still.
No, okay, but you guys are not listening to what I'm saying. You're having selective hearing. If somebody asks you a question and you respond by saying for 2 years this guy was better, that's okay. What I said. If you want to take that and bring it into this conversation, I'm saying Mo Salah has been better than Eden Hazard his whole Premier League career in comparison to Eden Hazard's whole Premier League career.
Yeah,
and
that's 2 different arguments.
His whole Premier League career, he's been clear of Hazard.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question.
When you look at, maybe not his Chelsea career, but his Liverpool career, that is accurate. My bad about the Chelsea career. Yes, no. When he was at Chelsea,
get rid of Salah Chelsea. No, I mean, like, there's no way of a fucking 18-19 Hazard. 17-18 Salah is what it is. Like, he was on a madness that season. We won't even try and debate that. But 16-17 Eden Hazard. 18-19 Eden Hazard. They're above level.
18-19 Salah wasn't actually as good. Was actually worse Salah, to be fair. That was Salah's worst season, I thought.
Can I ask a question?
It was still like one of Hazard's best seasons, and Galatasaray.
The year that you guys won the league, or the one that you won
the Champions League, and we finished on 97 points. That was 18. Salah was going through goal droughts that season and stuff, and was like he wasn't that good that season.
Yeah, that was 18-19. That was the year we won the Europa League under Sarri as well.
Yeah. Can I ask a question? Can I ask a serious question? And if people can give me the answer, is how many trophies has Hazard won for Chelsea, and how many trophies Salah won for Liverpool?
2 and main ones anyway.
For Chelsea's won 2 Europa Leagues,
2
Premier League titles, won an FA Cup, a League Cup, and
hasn't Hazard won 2 FA Cup?
One.
No idea. You'll know better.
I thought he won 2.
One.
Yeah.
One against United. I thought he won against us.
Yeah,
I don't know why
against United. Yeah, just the one against United.
Salah's only won 4.
What about against Tottenham?
No, well, he's also won the Super Cup and the Club World Cup.
I think that was
if you want to count those 2, then he's won 4. But if you don't, then he's won 2.
No, but you got to count the Super Cup.
They are made trophies, so you got to count them, I guess.
That's the argument. How many Hazard won and how many Salah's won?
That's not the only argument.
The trophies is everything. Trophies money. That's
Scott,
how
If
good you are in the
trophies are
world.
everything,
one
That's
sec,
not the
guys.
only argument.
Scott, just before you go, Mo Welly's saying two different players. Hazard was a magician who destroys teams on his own. Salah, on the other hand, is a goal-scoring winger who needs space to run. But that's also why I'm saying Eden Hazard just edges it because he's able to do more from across the pitch.
Yeah, because
I was saying,
the
so
argument. Yeah, go ahead.
trophies isn't necessarily the be all and end all, but the next argument to make is individual awards, and Hazard still beats him.
Yeah.
no, but you also have to factor in. You also have to factor in when it comes to individual awards. Egypt literally messed up. They didn't even submit the documents for the Ballon d'Or, and he still came in like third. So it just goes to show you. It just goes to show you the nationality you represent also can impact what type of awards you receive and what type of accolades you receive. Because these bodies also help for the voting, and they messed up. They should have submitted the documents. They didn't, and that's why Mo Salah almost quit the Egyptian national team. If you guys know what you're talking about,
They don't help for Premier League voting.
Yeah, they don't know.
No, I know that.
So
But guess what?
And that's what we're talking about, though.
But
Like,
guess what?
What about his Premier League?
Salah came back. Salah came
Premier
back
League
from
individual
Roma.
awards.
Salah came back from Roma, and in his first season got the most goals in Premier League history. Right, has one of the most goals for a Premier League a player that's not playing as a main striker on wide position. He has the goal record for Liverpool. He has more Champions League goals.
But he is kind of playing as our main striker.
He has more Champions League goals than Hazard does in his whole career.
Well, he's gonna get more goals, yeah.
He already has the
goal scorer of that
Champions League.
Liverpool team.
Since you guys like to talk about
He's
how
the main goal scorer of that Liverpool team, and he's
Yeah,
playing
because
in
for
it
me,
every
that's one
year
of
he
Guess
plays.
what? When Eden Hazard was the main goal scorer for Chelsea,
He's never been the main goal scorer.
When has he been the main goal
He's
scorer
never
for
been the
Chelsea?
main goal scorer. The fact that he
I'm
got
pretty
so
sure
many
his
goals-
last season under
The last
Sarri,
season he was our main scorer. Yeah,
he wasn't our main goal
The last
scorer.
season,
he wasn't
the
meant
last
for that,
season-
but he was a top
Hold
scorer.
on, guys. The last season he was doing both. So he was doing his
Yeah.
job, like Salah's job, and Trent's job. That's what he was doing the last season.
That was
Usually,
stepping up
he's usually
and
just
creating and finishing it
he's
himself.
creating.
I was
He's
going
a
to say,
creator.
no
That's
one
what he
else
does. He's
can
a
do anything.
playmaker.
Hazard was never meant to
If
be
you're
the
saying
main
he was the
goal
main
scorer.
goal scorer, who was creating
was
for
he
him?
not though? Was he not though that
No,
season?
because
Sarri's
he
last
was
season.
because our strikers
Who
were
was creating
shit.
for him? Sorry, season.
What do you mean?
Hazard
As you guys said, Hazard creates for himself.
Hazard had
Salah
no
also
one in
creates-
striker.
Okay,
He's
so
our main goal
now,
scorer
but
because
you
our other ones were
ignored.
shit.
Sorry, Scott. You ignored me mentioning the creators that Salah has, and you're saying because he's the main goal scorer because he's a
No,
striker.
because
He has other players.
the way you were putting the
Hold on.
question.
I'm saying
the way
other
you're
players are
putting-
creating for him though. So if Hazard is the main striker, is the main goal scorer, who's creating for him? In that
As you-
sorry season, who was creating for him?
Listen, I don't know your team that well. You guys could probably tell me who was in that team that season. But you had what? He was creating chances for Giroud. He was Giroud and him were linking up quite well when Giroud came in. Right.
Whenever Giroud
He also
played.
Willian might not have been the best player for you guys, but he did pad his stats with Eden Hazard whenever
It was
Eden
best
Hazard
for you,
was playing
though.
on the pitch.
No,
He'd do those short
we
passes and
ain't
So let's
doing
not
Willian.
let's not
No,
get into
no.
let's not get into the team.
If we bring in
Willian
stats into
Willian had 5 assists, fam. He had
No,
8
yeah,
goals.
it
in
was.
Let's not get
Willian
into
with
the
his
actual
4
team.
open play goals all
His
season.
last
What are
Let's
you
not get into
year,
the
talking
actual
about?
teams. I want to know. Rayan, where do you stand on this? Do you think Eden Hazard is better than Salah?
They're different players, but as an all-round footballer, yeah, I do think he's better than Salah. Or was at Chelsea anyway, not the Real Madrid
Yeah,
Hazard
Chelsea.
at the
No,
moment.
yeah.
But like,
Okay.
yeah, in prime Hazard, I do think he's a better footballer than Salah. Yeah.
And also, didn't you have a Salah agenda for like the past year?
Not an agenda. I just think people overrated him, and he wasn't performing in games enough. I've never doubted him as a goal scorer, but like he just was doing dumb shit in games and wasn't contributing as much. I'm not even talking defensively. I'm talking just attacks were breaking down when it was coming to him and stuff. He wasn't as involved in the build-up play. But I've never doubted his goal scoring.
Lewis, respectfully, I feel like in order to have a balanced argument, you need to have a similar amount of people talking about the topic. And I just feel like it's too much people on Eden Hazard's side and not enough people actually talking about Salah.
Fans.
Can I ask you something?
But only
I would
one we
message-
can find
Could
is argument.
Eden Hazard do what Salah did?
Say it again.
Could Eden Hazard do what Salah did, like score? Like if he stayed up just a purely attack,
No.
yeah, and just get goals, he could. He
Yes,
can shoot.
I'm gonna shoot.
No, it's not.
He
Listen,
knows how to be
listen,
in a
listen,
rotation.
That's not his
That's
game.
just that's not
No,
his
it's
game.
not his
That's
game,
not
but
what.
I
And
know
that's why I
it's
feel
not his
like
game, but
goals and
could he do that if
assists.
he wanted to? If he was in that system,
know.
yeah, do you reckon he could have done it?
Can I take that? If from when he came to Chelsea, if he had a manager that it's instilled the sort of mentality to be able to finish things off, then probably yes. Because in terms of his actual ability, in terms of shooting and striking a ball, it is better than Salah's. He just doesn't do it.
Yeah, like if you remember Eden Hazard in his first few seasons, like the way that he dribbled past players and the way that he received the ball as well, it's changed as soon as Mourinho came in and Conte came in. He was starting to shield the ball a lot more when he collected it. And he played a lot more defensive-minded with his dribbling. He preferred to hold players off a bit more, use his strength and let other players get into position. Whereas in his first season or two, he was driving at players. Literally, in a way that he still did in his prime, but he didn't do it as much as he did in the first few years. He was a lot more fearless in his first few years at Chelsea. And I do agree with you with the fact that it probably has been coached out of him by defensive managers like Jose Mourinho and like Antonio Conte. And they still were able to get a great player in Eden Hazard regardless. But there is a question to be asked of what Eden Hazard would be like if you had him with much more of an attacking coach in his earlier years. Big up Varun also saying,
But Lewis, sorry, go ahead.
Hazard has domestic in check with 2 Premier Leagues, 1 FA and 1 League Cup, and Salah has 1 Premier League. Salah wins the UEFA side of it. If Igal still says Salah is better, then by that logic, Chelsea is clear of Arsenal. Chelsea clear of Arsenal anyways. But here's what
Listen, this is the player I've always compared Hazard to, Iniesta, right? And when you look at Iniesta's stats, because Iniesta could have scored as many goals as the rest of them, especially when he was playing in that front three. But the way he plays, he just doesn't. That's not his game.
Yeah.
He drops so deep every time. Even if he had Xavi, whoever, he's gonna drop deep. He's gonna help out. He's gonna dribble. That's what he does.
He's more team player.
Yeah, that was always Hazard's game. He was an Iniesta style player. He wasn't gonna rack up goals or rack up assists, even though he did rack up assists and had a decent amount of goals. That's who I always compared him to, like in Iniesta mode, but just a little bit better.
I think these
Even
these players are like very like Hazard in terms of the way they play are disrespected as well, because people will automatically think, oh, they'll see their GN, oh, it's not as good as Salah's. But then these players are so disrespected in terms of that they're so influential in breaking down defenses because they'll dribble at players, go past 2 or 3, take them out of the game, play a killer pass and create spaces for others. And yeah, it won't go down to the goal and or assist, but they play such an influential role in that goal that they won't get the credit for it. And you get what I mean?
For example, the best way to decide like who's better, it's talking about the defense that actually defended against them. And there's a substantial amount of defenders actually said that they did not want to go against Hazard versus Salah. They said when they played against Hazard, it's just enormous, not versus Salah. Like, it was a major defense. People saying that it was like there's no way to compare them, especially from Tottenham.
Yeah, guys, also keep it civil in the comment section. I don't want to start blocking people as well. Varun says Hazard is similar to Silva, pass before the pass, but this is also why we're also saying they are 2 completely different wingers, and we do know it going into this debate as well. Like, we do have that mindset going into it. It's just this debate will still go on regardless of whether you keep that in mind or not. People are just going to keep debating Salah over Hazard. And I think with Hazard's early decline, as well as with how good Salah's been this season, like he's probably been the best player in the league this season.
Hazard was been kicking in the legs for whole 7 seasons, man. He was at Chelsea.
No, but like this is why the debate keeps going, because Salah's continuing to rise now while Eden Hazard's on a massive downturn.
Decline, yeah.
That's why he's starting to get more slandered as well.
No one's gonna talk about Eden Hazard's decline when they talk about Premier League history. They're gonna talk about his time in the Premier League. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but people still bring up 15-16 regardless, even though I say with context it's understandable. The only thing that Hazard is to blame is the same thing Hazard is always to blame with, turning up to start the season overweight. But the rest of it, all the other injuries and playing him before he was fully fit, that wasn't his fault. We forced him into those positions. That's why he was out for so long.
Do you know what something people never factor in? Like, you know the constant videos you can see of Hazard putting things on a plate for Willian, for Morata, and they're constantly missing. Well, I think Conte's second season, when we bought Morata, do you know how many things that Hazard put on a literal plate? And players just kept missing chances
created in the Premier League and 4 assists.
How many was that?
On a literal plate.
Chances created.
88.
4 assists.
88
chances created that season.
You do realize Salah creates more chances that he doesn't finish off, and his teammates don't finish off also.
Yeah,
because he takes a lot of those chances.
Look at
he takes a lot more shots.
Was that, you said that was during Conte's second season, yeah, Lewis? That 88 chances. That was in a defensive team that was playing horrendously. That had the likes of Bakayoko in the midfield that were terrible in terms of form. As I said, mainly counter-attacking versus a team that are all about going forward, press, high up the pitch, intensity.
And they're in their
bad amount of chances a game. And also, you're the guy that they rely on.
So based on that, isn't Alexis Sanchez better than Hazard then? Because he was in a lesser team. We can't do that argument. You can't use that argument.
I'm not talking about lesser team. I'm talking about systems. I'm talking about systems.
So you're saying he's in a lesser system. That's why he's
not lesser. I'm talking about defensive versus attacking. If I'm in a defensive system, I'm expecting to create less chances against an attacking system simply because we're going to have less of the ball. And we're going to look to break.
Shouldn't you be more efficient then if you have less chances?
Again, that relies on strikers, and that relies on, as Lewis said, he created 88 chances and got 4 assists, in a defensive team. Whereas you're talking about Salah creating more chances in an attacking team. Well, obviously, because one's playing in a defensive team versus an attacking team.
Do you remember talk about defensive season? Do you remember Hazard at centre forward and we played against Man City and lost 1-0? How defensive Hazard was left alone as well. Like, that was crazy.
Hazard was going to leave.
No, but if you're a false 9 and you're asked to be the out ball and you're not asked to come back.
But we would never leave.
He's not a false 9.
We're never leaving the halfway line now.
The problem when we had Eden Hazard as a centre forward was because we were just playing the complete wrong brand of football. We were hoofing balls up to him. And it's like, well, what the fuck do you want Eden Hazard to do with balls being hoofed up to him in the air? He's never going to win an aerial duel.
And also, it wasn't his natural position. It's like the same as let's take Granit Xhaka and playing him as a 10. What the fuck's the point? It's not his position.
But it's not even that. It's like there's a difference in there's a difference in like if Hazard was playing that in like a Barcelona system, like playing false 9 in Barcelona is different than playing false 9 at Chelsea with the players that we had at that time. It didn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, who was going to get him the freaking ball?
But we weren't even playing false 9. We were playing him as a target man. We weren't even playing false 9.
And then he drift onto the left anyway. So then when he did that, then there'd be literally nobody in the box. Even if he beats a man, like, where does he go? The only threat that was into the box was at times Alonso and at times Kante, but Ken and Pedro weren't running into the box for anything.
Also, when Alonso... Sorry.
No, I'm done with you.
Also, when Alonso was playing left back under Sarri, the times when Alonso would drift in and Hazard had to hug the touchline, do you guys not remember that?
What was that?
You remember under Sarri when Alonso kept drifting into the box and Hazard then had to hug the touchline? Remember how frustrated Chelsea fans got with that?
That's what Alonso does. He hangs.
I'm going to have to go, bro.
Oh, yeah. I remember that,
Man said Alexis over both.
I said Alexis over both. You are out.
Who's trying to fit Alexis in this debate?
That I'll send you the link.
No, Alexis was elite though.
You know what's funny?
Alexis was good, but he was never on Salah or Hazard's level.
Eden Hazard, best player in the league.
He was on their level for 2 seasons.
He wasn't. You know what's funny? Eden Hazard, best player in the league. They compared Sanchez with him. They compared Son with him. They're now comparing Salah. Why is Hazard the constant?
Listen.
Hazard
was.
I think Hazard personally was.
Di Maria actually 1 point.
Di Maria, we've seen it all.
There's always somebody. It's always a debate.
Memphis Depay, we've seen it all, bro.
They tried it, didn't they?
I'm gonna have to head off. Lewis, thanks for having me.
As always.
Alrighty, got peace.
Description below. Check it out, guys.
Yeah. I swear they tried doing Martial and Hazard as well.
They did, I think.
Yeah, bro, they tried Kagawa and Hazard back in the day.
Here's
You
how
remember them ones?
here's how you can gauge it, right? Like when Liverpool won the league, or when they were in their pump or whatever the last 2 years, the only time in the last 40 years, mind you. But beyond that, when they were in their pump, all their players, about 7 or 8 of their players were like in the team of the year, right? Or world team of the year, European team of the year. They had the best right back ever, the best left back ever, the best center backs in the world, the best goalkeeper in the world, the best false nine. Mane was the best left winger. Salah was the best right winger. That's you know what I'm saying. Everybody was in those teams. When Hazard was winning the league, it was him, Costa.
Fucking Victor Moses at right wing back. It's Alonso at left wing back.
It was him, Costa, and Fabregas pulling things
Is it?
together. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
second time, Conte came in. You know what I mean? And was happy for that. But we didn't have a team where we're like, oh yeah, Lewis and Luis and Cahill, those are the best center backs ever, or Azpilicueta at left back, oh that's the best left back ever. Ivanovic at right back at 32 at that time, oh that's the best right back ever. Like stop it. It was completely different.
Here's the difference between Hazard and Salah as well. Like prime Hazard could get the ball on the halfway line, you still shit yourself as an opposition fan in it. Like you shit yourself still that you could do something.
That's what I
When
was trying
Salah
to
gets on the
say.
halfway line, man ain't really scared he's going to do anything. Like do not let that game the other day fool you into thinking Salah does that sort of thing every week in it. Like he's not going to score that. That's the first time I've seen him score a goal like that in like 3 years in it. Like
The
See,
funny
how
part
one-
is,
That
I'm
goal
very-
actually reminded me of like when Hazard did that
hella
against
biased if
Liverpool.
I did.
I was
So
gonna
I'm
say
glad you said that.
most of his goals are like the one he scored against Brentford.
yeah, where he makes that run with and like someone like Fabinho Van Dijk will find him with a diagonal pass or
and this-
something like that. That's
this is
where he's
what
a
I say.
great goal scorer. No one's doubting he's a fantastic goal scorer, Salah, one of the best. But as an
But this is
overall
why I've
footballer,
said
he's not
before
better
as
than
well.
prime Eden Hazard. Like,
But this is
nah.
what I said
Just
before as
before
well.
you go, Rodrigo Rogers says, if Salah's better than Hazard, then Lampard is clear of Gerrard. He has more goals, but Liverpool fans will never agree. Egal Hazard bench Salah at Chelsea. Bro, Egal was saying Sanchez is clear of Hazard, so it is
To
what
be
it is.
fair, the Salah at Chelsea thing, yeah, he was terrible, but that's because he wasn't fully formed as a football player. His time in Italy did him so well. I will say that. But on
Definitely, you
that
weren't going to
thing,
be
you
that player at Chelsea. either.
on that thing, Ryan, with the goals, like that's why I'd say in that Liverpool team, you could put Aubameyang and Werner in that Liverpool team, and they'd have the same impact. as
I'm not sure about Aubameyang, bro. Like, nah.
No, in terms of like when I say that, in terms of the output, not necessarily in terms of
not
like
having
you
Aubameyang.
look at because you look at
Also,
Aubameyang,
you got to take into account of Aubameyang pre-contract, past post-contract.
Fair.
No,
But
Josh.
you look at their run when Arteta came into the final when they won the Champions League, the FA Cup. They wish they won the Champions League. Their way of scoring against you and against us and against City was exactly the same. It was give the ball to Luis, get Aubameyang running in behind, play a ball over the top. It was literally the same way every single game, which is exactly what Salah's doing. He runs in behind, ball over the top from Trent or Robertson or like Van Dijk or whoever, scores. It's exactly
I get what you mean, but I do think Salah's more technically
he's definitely better technically
than Salah and Aubameyang and Werner, and I think that does
any fast. Yeah, I get your point. You could put any fast winger or striker behind,
and they'll score goals. Yeah, they'll score goals, but Salah is more technically competent than those two, which will and I don't think they'd reach his numbers if they were both in Liverpool.
Yeah.
Wait, who were the two players you mentioned? Aubameyang and who?
Werner.
Well, okay.
They want Werner, to be fair. Big up Palo saying, big up Lewis in the panel. Would Salah be Salah without Mane? How many years has Salah been elite without Mane? And did Hazard ever have talent like that alongside of him consistently? Just
Mane's been shit for a year in fairness to Salah. Mane ain't done nothing for the last year.
You need to get rid of him quick.
I think this needs to be Mane's last season. I can't lie, he's pissing me off.
You just need to freshen it up front.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's the one that should go.
Oh yeah, 100%. Mane's just been hopeless for ages, but people look at he scored a few goals this season. Trust me, he's been a shambles, bro.
We'll give you not Havertz.
No. I'm not saying
Havertz.
No.
Right, you swap Havertz for Mane. That's mad. I think that's mad.
Oh, Ziyech.
Ziyech.
Yeah.
Ziyech. I'll trade it for money.
Yeah, no, that's a lot easier to agree.
I think Mane left his hairline all the way back 2017. That's when he stopped playing actually for Liverpool. 17-18 season was the best Mane was.
Nah, best Mane was 18, 19, 19, 20. That the two
18,
seasons we won the
19 Mane was ridiculous.
yeah, 19, 20 Mane was sick as well.
When you won the Championship League, 18-19?
We won Champions League 18-19 and Premier League 19-20. Both those seasons, Mane was actually better than Salah. I can't lie.
Yo, Lewis, I need to head off. Yeah, big ups.
Interesting question. At Liverpool at their peak, those 2 seasons, Salah, was he even top 5 players in your team?
No. Possibly not because you had Alisson, Van Dijk, Trent, Mane,
Henderson, because
Fabinho.
I remember Liverpool fans said he was player of the year.
I wouldn't say Henderson,
was better.
I wouldn't say Henderson, but you had like Fabinho there as well.
No, but your fan said he was player of the year, so I would say
that
Henderson.
was bullshit, innit? But like,
agendas have the agenda.
All right,
bro, I never saw that. Well, obviously I was seeing Henderson player of the year, but I was never behind that still. Like, nah, I wasn't having that still. No way.
I like if we had more Liverpool fans like Ryan, you'd be a much more tolerable fan base.
Henderson player of the year.
Oh. No, usually Liverpool fans stick with the history class. So usually
most
conversation.
Abdullah, what are you saying, bro?
I'll pick up Abdullah, man.
I bring up Ryan, my guy, and notice. But you see, with Liverpool fans, they always love to shit. Most of them love to shit the goalpost. So when it comes to Gerrard, Lampard, it's not about output; it's about all-round game. But when it comes to Salah with Hazard, it's literally it's based on solely output. So for me, I've kept it consistent. If you're gonna do both debates, considering all 4 are very different players. Lampard and Gerrard were not the same type of player. Gerrard was like a box to box, and Lampard was more like a attacking 8, if you want to call it that. Same with Salah and Hazard. So for me, if you're going to judge them based on their careers, you have to use all-round game. Otherwise, it just becomes a meaningless debate, because then by that logic, Lampard's better than Zidane. Which Lampard was sick, but he wasn't better than Zidane.
It's like I commented earlier. If it was based on GNA, Bruno would be better than.
Yeah, I was going to mention Bruno.
Bro.
Oh, I have to go. But I just want to say something. Lampard was not an attacking 8. He was box to box. So you can't compare him. You can't compare him and Gerrard.
Didn't he start as a box to box and transition to a 10?
Yeah, he's right behind Drogba a lot of times.
Yeah, exactly.
No, he wasn't.
He was behind Drogba. Come on.
No. That's what I said. Did he? I know because he.
What was Lampard known for?
He did play. Yes, he was a centre mid. Yes, but he always pushed up a lot.
Chris, what was Lampard known for?
Getting a lot of goals. What do you mean?
In terms of scoring goals, arriving to the box late. How can you arrive to the box late if you're a second striker?
No, I'm not saying he was a second striker.
He has the most goals from outside the box. That's how he was getting his goals. Arriving to the box late and scoring outside the box.
I don't know.
He wasn't all the way up there. And I also have his defensive.
I'd say he was like
his defensive
with a bit more freedom to roam.
I have his defensive stats compared to Gerrard's. It's gonna shock you.
Please don't.
The second striker doesn't have those, man. Come on, like he was never that. That's why if you watch Lampard play, that's why he was so good, because he ghosted into the box. He was a box-to-box midfielder. That's what he did. When has Jose Mourinho ever played luxury player? An attacking 8. What are we talking about? Like an attacking 8? He was never that.
It wasn't really. You're making it out like I'm disrespecting Lampard. I'm not
saying you're disrespecting him at all. I'm just saying he was box to box. He was an all-around midfielder. He wasn't an attacking 8 like Silva or any of these guys.
He was this 8-10, mate. It was actually Lampard was lucky enough. Lampard was lucky enough to play free. It was under any manager. He was 8-10. Including the free kicks and penalty we taking. That's why he was scoring a lot of goals.
No, but
Gerrard was different. Gerrard was like box to box.
Exactly, Gerrard was a box to box, and then even
that was different.
The other thing.
That's wrong, but okay.
The only time Gerrard ever played as the real attacking midfielder
was behind Torres.
That was when Torres came in, and it was literally like
that was best Gerrard. That was I thought that was like
and Gerrard was also shunted out to
To the
right
right,
wing
yeah, when
when
Alonso
they had
came
Xabi
in.
Alonso and Mascherano. If you're really that guy, then you shouldn't be shunted out to the wing.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
those
care.
two are better centre. Gerrard went like a centre mid like that. He couldn't really play in like a two in midfield with like a little Alonso because he didn't have the discipline and IQ to play there.
But that's my point, though, because Lampard could play in a two in midfield.
Do you
No, but
reckon?
here's the thing.
He
The
did.
best
He
way
did.
to-
Did
no,
he?
but
Yeah, he
Frank,
did.
I thought he was
won the
supposed to be in
Champions
the
League,
three.
he did. No, the
You
year
know
we
what
won the
really-
Champions League, I think, and then the year after, he definitely played in two. Like he played with Ramirez, and then he also played with Mikel, I believe.
It was him and Mikel, and the Mata was a number 10.
Yeah,
That's about it. I didn't even want to start a Lampard Gerrard debate. I just wanted to, get the point across that people need to keep it consistent. If you're going to judge players who, first of all, they're not really the same type of player in the first
Yeah,
place.
facts.
No, they're not. I agree with you.
Hazard and Salah are not the same type of player. Gerrard and Lampard were not the same type of player.
It's-
Drogba and Henry weren't really the same.
Even when you compare like a Scholes, Gerrard, and Lampard, those guys are completely
they're not the
different
same.
players.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. They're
completely
different.
different players.
Yeah.
Lewis, this comment is probably already gone by now, but Abdi put in the chat. You're gonna have to scroll up quite a lot to find this if you're gonna try to. He said Eden Hazard has a total of, or had a total of 50. Wait, what? Eden Hazard has started a total of 51 games for Chelsea in 17-18 and got 44 goal contributions in a team that had 40% possession against the likes of Swansea.
Nah, he didn't get 44.
Yeah, but the thing is as well, Abdul, what you mentioned about the goalpost is the same with Trent versus Reece. Like, it's exactly the same. They'll talk about how good Trent is going forward. Like, I know Ryan isn't in this because he said
Cannot defend.
he's better than Trent.
They're going
But yeah,
forward.
they won't talk about the fact that he's a right back and he needs to be able to fucking defend.
Yeah, he cannot defend.
Yeah,
No,
but
you know
they won't mention that. They'll mention just how good he is going forward. Well, if that's the case, you might as well have played like Beckham at right back. If that's all you wanted was a good ball in and the ability to go forward, like Sir Alex might as well have played Beckham at right back. Like Ziyech might as well play left back. If that's the argument we're making here about your fullbacks, then
It's like with the Trent thing, though. It's like I had a Liverpool fan try and educate me on how Trent isn't really a right back. Well, I'm like, how can he be the best right back in the world then if he's not a right back? Do you get
he's
what
not
I
a
mean?
right back. Though. He's a wing back. He
That's like
is like
false right back, like false number 2 in it. That's what we should call it still.
It's like
is a wing back.
Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka, he defends, but he cannot attack.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. Like Wan-Bissaka should be a centre back. Wan-Bissaka's like the
Wan-Bissaka's defending's overrated as well. He's not.
Yeah,
a great
Wan-Bissaka's
defender.
overrated, but like that's the thing. You've got like of all three of them get mentioned. Reece is the only actual right back of the three. You've then got Trent's a wing back, and
A man don't know what Wan-Bissaka is, to be fair.
and Wan-Bissaka's like the third centre back in a three, like the right centre
But
back.
that guy's just a championship footballer, isn't it? I can't.
He's so overrated. He's
No, but
so
Scott, do you know what it is though? The difference is with Trent is that what they try to do is Liverpool fans, they always try to say, Danny Alves wasn't known for his defending, Philip Lahm weren't known for his defending.
No, if they actually said that about Philip Lahm, if they actually knew football, they'd understand that's false. This man never got a card. This man played for however many years, however many games, never got a single card. And you're telling me, if I actually heard that from a Liverpool fan, I think I'd lose my shit.
Yeah, but look, guys, you can't fault the eyesight. Look, when you watch Trent, going forward is brilliant, but defense is not good. And Wan-Bissaka's opposite. He can defend, but he cannot attack.
Nah, he can't. Wan-Bissaka can't defend as well.
He's a good one-on-one defender.
Hey, what? Sorry, mate.
Light tackle merchant.
Yeah, he's a good one-on-one defender.
He's got base and he's got that tackle. He can't defend.
No,
He
long
cannot
leg
attack.
in it, but like
his like positional awareness is awful.
He's atrocious.
It's awful. There's so many times like they'll get beaten. So when they lost to RB Leipzig, it came from the fact that Wan-Bissaka had no idea where Angelino was. Like his defensive awareness is awful. He doesn't understand where anyone else is on the pitch.
Daniel.
Imagine he used to be a winger.
Did he actually?
Yeah, apparently so. Yeah, they were saying that.
Yeah, Steven Gerrard, Lampard. Oh no, I wasn't even trying to start this debate though. I was literally just
Don't even look at Gerrard. Just look at Lampard. There's a what number 10 has 595 tackles. We didn't play a pressing system. What who wins 421 tackles, has 322 interceptions.
4-5-1 system, didn't we?
Well,
we were playing a 4-3-3 most of the time. I just wanted to show that like
Which one? The 04 or 05 season?
We never
The 04
Lampard
05
wasn't a
season.
pressing player. No, I'm saying most of his career at Chelsea, right? He wasn't a pressing player. We never played a pressing system. He wasn't a second striker. Second strikers don't have these stats. Now, granted, Gerrard has better stats defensively. That wasn't why I'm showing this. I'm showing this to you to show that a second striker or number 10 or forward 8 doesn't have 322 interceptions or 595 tackles. You don't have that. So I don't know what Lampard you guys were watching, but he was box to box. You can compare him and Gerrard. They were both box to box players.
Yeah. So like, what's the argument between Lampard and Gerrard that they're not that Lampard's not a box to box player?
I think that's what Abdullah was saying. Now I was like, no, he was 100% a box to box player. He was just really good at scoring goals, like the best ever.
He was also like
Lampard was more advanced. He had
I don't think Lampard was box to box.
Lampard wasn't box to box.
So how did he get 595 tackles, fam? He was pressing.
Kicking the ball with his
I
right foot.
said to you, sometimes the stats you got to believe the eyesight, isn't it?
Exactly.
He's 8/10. You can't.
My eyesight saw him playing in a Mourinho system for 3 years, where he was box to box, going back and forth, defending his left side, Ballack the right side, and pushing forward. I saw that for 3 years. I saw Ancelotti, where that's when he did play as a number 10. And
he was a number 10 underneath.
Well, there is one similarity we can.
Ancelotti, yes, he did do that.
And then
I saw him
Mourinho
play in a midfield, midfield 2 under freaking AVB.
Yeah,
and he played in that midfield 2 for us winning under the Matteo as well. And he played in that midfield 2 for us winning the freaking Champions League.
And then when
he was in that 2 previously, the previous year.
No, but you have to add context. That wasn't prime Lampard. Prime Frank Lampard was playing a more advanced role. And you have to remember, you know how Liverpool fans say Firmino's the defensive striker. Lampard wasn't really a defensive striker, but he would, make tackles, interceptions, and all that higher up the pitch as well. It wasn't like he was pressing, but that's just how his positioning was. And, obviously I wasn't trying to start Gerrard Lampard a bit, but I'm just telling you, that's literally why I'm trying to say you can't really compare these players. It's like, what's his name? Even Drogba and Henry to an extent, you can't really compare them to, because Henry had more of a free role to Drogba, whereas Drogba was like I don't even know, like a traditional number 9.
Drogba was the facilitator for everyone else.
I don't think Henry was like a proper number 9.
Exactly.
He was number 9 in the sense of like he was the target man. Yeah, he was a number 9 in the sense of he was a target man, but he was like the facilitator for everyone else. He was just so good as a striker that he got goals as well. Like his all-round game as a striker was just so complete.
Look, we can say there is one similarity between Gerrard and Lampard. They're both shit managers.
Hey, right, put some respect on Lampard's name, bro.
They're both shit managers. I'm telling you, bro.
I kind of agree with him on that, so I don't care.
Lampard was.
No, to be fair, guys, it will have to be. Keep it 100. I think Gerrard and Lampard is a legend for the game. Gerrard and Lampard.
Yeah, I can agree with the manager thing, but the player thing, I'll still stand by what I said, man. He was box to box.
That's fine, mate.
I still think Lampard was better than Gerrard, but that's a debate for another day.
Nah, he's clear.
No.
I don't think he's clear.
Lampard was clear, yeah.
We're not trying to start Lampard, Gerrard.
But he's not I agree he was better than Gerrard, but not box.
I ain't got the energy for that at the moment.
So let Lewis, we're done debating the whole Hazard Salah thing because it came a bit.
Like we've run through that already. I'll probably, if anyone hasn't got anything else to say, I'll probably wrap up the stream in a few minutes.
Yeah. Can I give my thought?
So, guys, I missed Salah Hazard. What is your overall view about Salah Hazard competition?
Salah's the better goal scorer, but Hazard's the far better player.
Yeah, player.
I mean, technically,
technically, and just in terms of you.
I think.
I agree with you. Obviously, I'm a big Hazard fan, but Salah scored a wonder of a goal on Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're exactly right.
There's no doubt.
Exactly.
I think there's no doubt that right now. I say there's no doubt right now that Salah is the best player on form in the Premier League.
Yeah,
talking about.
Agree.
Like,
hey, Scott, I watch you in this channel all the time, Scott. You talk a lot of sense, mate.
Thank you.
Yes, I do, mate. Of course, I know each one of you here. I think you, Scott, you speak a lot of sense, mate. 100%.
Thank you, bro.
No, are you his fan or something? Like what's going on?
Yeah.
No, No, I'm just saying that. I'm saying how it is, mate.
Like you want an autograph or something? You want an autograph?
If you want the link, I'll.
I'm just playing with you. I'm messing with you.
yeah,
I'm messing with you, bro. I'm messing with you, bro.
But for my opinion, it's just the same as you. I think Salah is a much better goal scorer, but Hazard is a better footballer because he was better at creativity, dribbling, and he was just that player that could just fit in like so many different systems.
Fatter, I'll add you back in, Jude.
For me, he's number 10 better than number 7. And the reason why he plays number 7 because we have to put Kevin De Bruyne somewhere in that team. And
I'm not hearing Kevin De Bruyne.
Well, I'm not talking to you then. What I'm saying is like
Kevin De Bruyne is a dribbler. The issue is Hazard, isn't it? He didn't score goals, isn't it? That's why he's missing in his game. Eden Hazard, fantastic player. Just don't score.
Kazim, can I finish my sentence?
Sorry, man.
What I'm trying to say is like we're both great players, but how do you put them in the same Belgium team? So you have to do it. I think the reason why Hazard playing on the left more is because he's better on the left if you will put Kevin De Bruyne over there. You see what I'm saying? But both are really good players. That's what I'm trying to say. But favorite position, Hazard is usually plays number 10. He's more happy when he creates than when he actually scores. Same as Fabregas.
His favorite position's from the left. He said that in an interview.
And you know what?
He can play 10 as well. He can play 10.
No, he can't. He can play 10.
He actually said his favorite position is number 10.
He can play 10.
The thing is about
the issue with Hazard, he wasn't greedy. He wasn't. He didn't have the eye in the goal to score and make these numbers. That was the issue with Hazard.
How many times Mane get pissed off at Salah for not passing?
It doesn't matter, does it? The guy want to score goals. It doesn't matter.
I know. That's what I'm trying to prove your point that he's actually greedy as a team player.
No, of course, but you know what it is. But you know what is redneck. Passing it to Mane is a suicide mission. He's gonna sky it anyway.
Oh come on, Hazard been passing to Moratas for
And to be fair, we were kind of mad at him at that. I was like, Hazard, I'd rather you shoot between 5 players and just then pass to this guy. This guy's a bum.
The thing is about Hazard, because
I get mad. I'm like, Hazard, please don't pass to him. Shoot it, and he'll pass it. I'm like, oh shit.
Who's worse, Timo or Morata?
Morata.
Fam, Morata is a different. Morata is a different level, fam. That guy he's a different level of a bum, bro.
Morata was horrible.
What?
Hey yo, guys.
And he'll complain the entire game. Why are you complaining for, fam? You just missed 2 open goals. Don't complain.
Yes, Oscar, what are you saying, bro?
I'm saying Morata scored double figures in the Premier League.
That's true. That's true. He did. That's facts.
I'm not here to do Morata prop. What are you not saying?
Alright, we're all good. We're literally just about to round off the Salah Hazard debate. But what's your thoughts, bro? We'll still get it.
I've been listening for like the past half an hour. I think Lampard is clear of Gerrard. I think in the Hazard Salah thing, like it was never really a debate when they were both in the league. Hazard was always clear, and now that Hazard's had a drop off, I think people want to reignite the conversation. Salah's an elite goal scorer, one of the best in the world, one of the best in the world right now. But I think Sunday when he scored that goal, everybody, no matter what team you support, you stood up and you was like, "Rah, that was an amazing goal." Yeah.
Even the assist, mate. Even the assist as well.
Yeah, and the assist because he showed that he can be a playmaker.
See the weight of the ball, yeah.
Those are the kind of things that Eden Hazard was doing 3 or 4 times this season. Like I can name you the Arsenal goal, the multiple Liverpool goals, the West Ham goal,
Man City.
He did it so many times, and that's why, like, there's so many players at Chelsea who have higher output than Hazard, like your Lampards or your Drogba's. But how many people say that Hazard is their favourite player at Chelsea ever, simply because of how he played? It was the beautiful game. Hazard showed us how beautiful football can be. So, yeah, he gets compared to the GOAT.
Yeah,
Hazard was our Zola.
The thing is as well, what I don't understand is like on that like drop off. If people actually like watch La Liga and understood, like he's been better this year. He's actually been quite good this year for Real Madrid. So he's started to get back to like not his best, but like he started to come good again. So it's only been 1 year drop off. So that's all it takes for like this debate to appear. Then like fucking hell.
2 year drop off. He's been in La Liga for 2 years now, right?
Yeah, for me, yeah, the drop off is like real, right? But the player Eden Hazard is just he's probably one of the most technically sound ballers to ever play in the Premier League, 100%. This guy was different.
In the Premier League, if defenders we gotta stop him at all costs. Like nobody is saying like Salah must be stopped at all costs. It's always Hazard needs to be stopped at all.
Oh yeah, but we don't make the comparison. I think Salah is absolutely out of the world. He's fantastic in a minute, man.
Yeah,
for the past 2 years, he was actually real good. He was.
And what I like about Salah as well, he's very consistent. He's been doing it last 5 seasons. He's scoring 19 to 20 to 32 when he break the record as well. So he's very consistent. And in that level, you got to be consistent to create your own legacy, if you know what I mean.
Who would do it if Salah was not in Liverpool's team? Who would do it on that team? That's the question. So he's the prime man.
It would be down to Mane, but Mane hasn't got the finishing ability. Like
I'm trying to say Kazim's point, like he's actually that consistent because
he's very consistent.
He's the main target. If he's not scoring, Liverpool ain't seeing shit.
Even last year, guys, when they lost Van Dijk and lost the title as well, Salah was still scoring goals because he's very consistent.
Yeah,
that's why he's reached that level.
In front of goal, that guy is inevitable. Yeah, he is just a pure finisher. Like,
I disagree.
Salah is stoppable though.
He's not a pure finisher. If you see the amount of big chances this guy's missed and the amount of chances that
Liverpool fair enough. Okay,
he's a volume player.
Yeah,
he's not a great finisher. He's a good
high volume. He's a high volume.
Talking about Salah.
He's not a great finisher.
To be fair, Igal did make a good point. He does create a lot of those chances for himself as well. So he might miss a lot of chances, but he makes a lot of those as well.
No, but Lewis, can I say one thing though? Isn't it so ironic that all the ballers from our Prem era all get disrespected and overlooked? The only person I've ever seen who's ever been like, properly rated the way he should be is either Terry or Lampard. Like everyone always, shits on Drogba, everyone shits on Hazard, everyone shits on Fabregas as well. Fabregas for me, I don't know if everyone agrees, but Fabregas is top 3 Prem centre-mids to ever play in the Prem. I don't care what anyone says.
Top 5. I think
top 3.
If you're talking about all-round midfielders,
no. I will go slow. I will go
creative midfielder.
I will go slow.
Final thoughts, because I'm gonna wrap.
I will go. Yeah, I'm just gonna address them quick. I will go Scholes, Lampard. Gerrard, Fabregas, David Silva.
Both scored for Man United as well. He was good, mate.
Vieira's top.
Vieira. Okay, you can put Vieira.
Both scores. It was very good, mate.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Lewis, thanks for having me. I appreciate it, mate. Thank you. Take care, guys.
Come on.
Thanks. Have a good day, guys. Bye.
Big up Dinnerson also saying that Liverpool team would win the Ballon d'Or. Fucking damn right, because he'd actually have better attackers next to him.
Nobody winning La Liga shit is conspiracy theory. I always believe it. It's always a
No, he would have. No, Hazard actually would have, because Van Dijk got on that list, and the whole aura around Liverpool was that it's their best ever.
I believe La Liga has a
hold on. The whole aura around Liverpool is that it's their first ever title and it's the best in Prem history. Hazard in that team, yes, he would have won that Ballon d'Or.
I don't believe Ray Charles gangster lookalike. I don't believe it. It's La Liga. It's La Liga.
You making a joke doesn't negate what I said, but okay.
Right. Anyone got any other final thoughts?
Yeah, my final thoughts is that Hudson-Odoi is clear of all young players in the league. That's just a thought.
Jesus Christ.
Come on, no way or no way. You already know. Big up everyone that's locked in. We will probably do another stream like this in the next coming days. I don't even care about the views or anything. It's content. It's something we can talk about. So I'll come up with some more discussion ideas, but we'll do this more throughout the international break.
Actually, I've got an idea for the
We
next
didn't talk
one.
about Abramovich coming back to the club. Abramovich came back to England. We didn't talk about that.
I don't know what it's
Yeah,
about.
it's not really much to say. I'm just glad he's back, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got an idea for the next one.
Go on.
Jose versus Pep.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Now we
want
can
to
get
go
that one. I've
No,
got
I've
like
got
one or
Yeah,
two
I've
in
done that
mind,
one,
but that's
so.
cool.
No, Lewis, how about this?
Jose,
Aspi
man.
versus Ivanovic.
Ooh.
Okay, so we're just gonna do player v player, then we got plenty of options. Cool.
Yeah, there's a lot to work on there.
International break.
Oh, if they can't
Ivanovic
change
versus
that.
Aspi. Ivanovic all
As-
day. Ivanovic has
Aspi
all day.
Aspie versus Ivan is a good one. That's a
That's
really
a
good
good
one.
one.
that's a good one.
That's an actual
Hold
like.
that one.
Even
Again,
though I
we'll
hated Ivanovic in the
sort out
last
a few of
few
this
years,
off
though.
camera, and we'll get these done for the rest of the international break. But big up everyone that's locked in. I need to go get my trim. Smash the like and subscribe button, and as always, up the fucking Chels.
Yep.
Cheers.